Welcome to Community Chat. This is a program that we use as a vehicle to share information about things that are going on in and around this great town of Abington. My name is Kevin Tocci, and I'll be your host for this segment. Today we have a very special guest. We're privileged to be speaking with Dr. Felicia Moschella. She is going to chat a little bit about the upcoming school year. Welcome to Community Chat.
Hello, thank you for having me.
How are you?
I'm great.
I probably should ask, how was your summer? Because I can't say, how is your summer?
My summer was great. July 1st came very quickly. As you know, former Superintendent Peter Schaefer retired on June 30th. And then July 1st was my first day, and we've spent the summer preparing for the opening, and we're looking forward to welcoming our staff and students next week.
So the idea of this conversation is for folks to get to know a little bit about you and also kind of get an idea as to the path you have plotted for the upcoming school year and beyond.
Great.
Let's kind of start with how did you get interested in education as a career path?
So it started very early. I worked at camps when I was a teenager, day camps and overnight camps. And then I started teaching swimming lessons when I was 16 and said, this is what I want to do forever. And I went to college to be a phys ed teacher, and I taught, so then I became a teacher, and I taught in Tucson, Arizona for my first 8 years. Mm-hmm. I taught, my first year, I taught English and science at a middle school. Then I taught adaptive phys ed in middle school and high school and coached. And then I came back to Massachusetts. I grew up in Massachusetts, came back to Massachusetts, and became a school administrator. And I was assistant principal for 5 years in 2 different districts before I came to Abington in, believe it or not, 2005 as the principal of the then Frollo Junior High School. Ooh. And made my way through.
How is, when you compare what it was like to be in Arizona and then come to Massachusetts, do you look at the two different states and their philosophies when it comes to education?
I have reflected on it as an administrator and being much more involved in an understanding of educational policy and funding and those things. But as a 22-year-old teacher, I was really happy to have a job and really happy to be teaching in a great community with great colleagues. So I would say at the time, it was just an exciting time to be a new teacher. In hindsight, you know, Arizona is not known to be one of the top education states in the country. And so I feel really lucky to have been in Massachusetts now for over 25 years as an administrator, and with the focus that Massachusetts has on education. Although we never think there's enough funding, Massachusetts schools are funded more significantly than other states.
To become an administrator, some folks, they would rather just prefer to remain a teacher. That's what they like doing. What was it that made you feel the appeal to want to become an administrator, be somebody who not only worked with, you know, with faculty and paraprofessionals, but also, you know, when it comes to leading a school system?
That's a great question. I had incredible mentors that I worked with as a teacher when I was in Arizona. If you ask my friends and colleagues from when I first started teaching, they said, we always knew you would be a principal. And some would say, well, I always knew you'd be a superintendent of schools. So I think I just always took on leadership roles, both as a student, as a young adult, and then as a teacher. I was consider myself a teacher leader as a young teacher. And then opportunities just happened, and I thought this is the time. So I came back to Massachusetts. I went to grad school at Boston College, became licensed as a school administrator, and started off my journey as like I said, a middle school assistant principal and then middle school principal.
Yeah, what has it been like with the different positions that you've held, from principal, assistant superintendent? I mean, talk to me about the tools you've been able to acquire in those roles leading up to becoming the superintendent.
As I said, I've had incredible mentors along the way. I've worked with great principals, great assistant superintendents, great superintendents that have always been very, very encouraging to me and providing me with opportunities to grow. So I'm very thankful to them. I hope that I am and will continue to be that person to young teachers and to young administrators, or not young, but new in their career. I had great people that helped me along the way. It's been growth. One of the things that I have always really valued is our relationships. That's probably my number one core value, is about relationships and building relationships. And I think it has done me well in my career. We can all solve problems. If we can sit at the table and talk about our different positions. One thing, it's kind of a joke with our administrators, I say all the time, we all play different positions. We just are on the same team. We just play different positions, and we all want the same thing, and that's what's best for our students. And if we can build good, strong relationships, believe in each other, trust each other, then good things will happen.
What was it like being named superintendent?
It was exhilarating, exciting. I have worked in Abington for a long time. I knew that Peter was going to retire at some point and thought, this is the place I would like to be. This is the place I would like to continue to be. I think we've done really great things in Abington during my tenure. Like I said, I'm starting my 20th year in Abington, and I wanted to continue that good work here. It was an honor. For people that you've worked with for a long time, to have the faith in you is a nice thing. And, I am proud of what we've done.
What would you say is the one piece of wisdom that Peter's imparted, something that still remains with you that you're going to probably call on from time to time just to kind of get through different periods of the school year?
One of I think Peter's tenets was that many voices make better decisions, and not one of us has the answer, always. And about relationships, sitting down with people, talking to people, talking through problems. Peter, one thing I learned definitely from Peter was that you have to come in with an open mind, not a blank mind. And so coming into problems, coming into situations, getting input from lots of people. People look to the superintendent to make decisions. I have no problem making decisions, but the more information that you can get, the more people you can have at the table, the better the decisions typically are.
I think what's important about any school district is their administrative team. What has it been like building your team? I know that we now Assistant Superintendent Chris Basta, amazing gentleman. Talk to me about your team.
Yes, I'm very lucky to have had the opportunity to build the team. I think it's also really important to say the most important thing that happens in a school happens in the classroom. Happens between the teacher, the paraprofessional, and the student. The rest of us, all of our jobs are to support the work that happens in those classrooms. So I have been lucky to build an administrative team, central office team that can help support the principals, support the work that happens in the classrooms. Chris Basta had been the Beaverbrook principal, became the director of curriculum and instruction, and then went through an interview process, became the assistant superintendent. I'm very lucky to have Chris with me. He's a great communicator. He's a great worker. And he's also really good sounding board. I trust Chris to have difficult conversations with me about difficult topics. The Director of Finance and Operations, Sarah Gainey, has been the school accountant for the last 10 years, my right-hand person as we've gone through budget and finance over the last with her for the last 10 years. Over the last year, Sarah got her school business manager license, her master's degree in educational leadership, and has really done a lot of preparation to become the Director of Finance and Operations. I'm very excited to have her. And Dr. James Robbins, the Director of Student Services. James and Sarah both went through the Abington schools. James has worked in other districts as a Director of Student Services, and he's been with us going on, I believe, his 7th year. And James is another person who just works really hard for what's best for our children.
Talk to me about Green Wave Pride, because you look at your team and a lot of individuals have come up through the ranks here in the Abington public school system, including yourself.
If you don't it's hard to describe Green Wave Pride without living Green Wave Pride. It's embedded in this community, whether it's our academics, our athletics, our fine arts, our individual achievements of students. People take such great pride in this community. And yes, we have a number of staff members who grew up in Abington, work in Abington, and that's a really good thing for the Abington Public Schools. There's 2 people on our leadership team that grew up in Abington. We have other people who live in Abington, assistant principals that live in Abington or that went through the Abington schools. It's a place people want to be. And when you look around in other districts, they don't have the stability that Abington has, whether it's teachers, administrators, central office administrators, and how lucky we are that we have people that bleed green and white.
Let's talk about, you alluded to it when we first started talking, about getting prepared since July 1. What have the past couple of months been like, and are you ready for, as we're having this conversation, we're a week until school opens.
We are?
We are.
No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, so I think it's also fair to say that really the last year and a half has been preparing for this day. The faith that the school committee put in appointing me as superintendent a year and a half ago also has allowed a preparation that's been long-term. I was able to work alongside Peter last year planning for the upcoming school year. We're mostly hired. We have a few positions that we're still hiring for, and we have interviews this week. There won't be any classroom that's not staff next week, I can tell you that. Over the summer, our support staff do amazing work in our buildings. Maintenance, custodian, transportation, our bus routes are all set. Food service is going to be up and running next Wednesday with free meals again for students. So a lot of work has happened this summer, and we're really excited to welcome our grades 1 through 12 on Wednesday and pre-K and K the Tuesday after Labor Day.
What are some of the things that you're looking forward to or anticipating for the 2024-2025 school year?
This spring, we went through a strategic planning process. There was about 25 to 30 members or stakeholders of the community. We had teachers, parents, administrators, community members, all working together to come up with a plan, and school committee members come up with a plan for the next 5 years. So we, in the spring, rolled out our 5-year strategic plan. You'll be hearing a lot more about that throughout the spring. But if I could, I'd just like to read our 4 objectives. These are the 4 objectives that this planning committee came together to decide were overarching goals. Then in the fall, we will be rolling out the individual initiatives within the plan. But overarching 4 objectives. The first one is to improve student outcomes through vertically and horizontally aligned curriculum and instruction. So really looking at what we're teaching and how we're teaching it. Communication, to enhance methods and practices for homeschool communication, something we can always do better. Third is culture and inclusion. So we're looking to improve inclusive procedures and practices to improve academic success for all students. Really looking how every student is welcomed in the Abington Public Schools and how every student has the ability to be successful. And our 4th is our district operations, and that's the facilities and district operations to provide high quality, safe teaching and learning opportunities for all students.
You had said as far as rolling things out, so you're saying in the spring of 25, you roll things out, and then implementation takes place in the fall of 2025?
So we rolled this out in the spring of 24.
Okay.
And so this is a significant undertaking, and we're saying in the next 5 years we're going to make sure these things are accomplished. And so we have selected a number of initiatives that we're going to look at for this school year, then the next school year, for the next 5 years, that we will continually report on to the school committee. This aligns what we as a district have for our vision of where the district is going to go, and Everything that we do will be attached to our strategic plan. My goals will be connected to the strategic plan. School improvement plans will be connected to the strategic plan. Principals' goals, teachers' goals, with the idea that these are the 4 things that we want to accomplish in the next 4 years.
We have come to that time in our conversation where I think we have touched upon the important topics. Anything that we haven't had a chance to talk about, but you want to take a moment to share details, or maybe there's something we mentioned but you want to kind of reiterate?
I think the only thing I really want to say is that we are so lucky to be in this community that believes in education, that trusts the school department. Doesn't mean that we all always agree, but like I said at the beginning, if we can communicate, if we can trust each other, if we can sit at the table, we can solve any problem, and we can make sure every student is successful in Abington. And that's what I want to make sure people understand. Part of what I would like to do, Kevin, is, and I said this in my opening email, I want to meet with as many people in this community that want to come and meet with me. I want to hear about what people think is great about the school department, what we can improve on in the school department, what their experiences have been, kind of a listening tour, not an answer tour, but really a listening tour. So I invite parents, community members, teachers, students, come in, meet with me. I'll come meet you. But I really want to hear what their vision is of the next 5, 10 years for the Abington Public Schools. Do
you have advice as to how folks can do that? Is it a matter of just calling the main office, the school department? How should they do that?
Thank you. They can either call our office, 781-982-2150, or they can email me directly and we'll set up a time that works.
Excellent. I want to thank you very much for sitting down and having a conversation, a little bit of a behind the curtain to this new school superintendent, and would love to have more conversations as they are needed. And we wish you the best of luck, not only starting out the new school year, but foreseeable future.
Thank you. I appreciate it, and I look forward to our continued relationship.
You got it.
Thank you.
And we want to thank you for tuning into a program like this. You are tuned into Community Chat. If you have any ideas for future shows, info@abingtoncam.tv is the best way to do that. Until our next conversation, have yourself a great day.